Hi folks, this is Dave with the Bit Journal broadcast. Today I'm going to be capturing footage from the PlayStation Vita TV, and we're going to be playing a favorite import of mine, Phantasy Star Nova. Now before I begin this video, I want to give a huge thank you and a huge shout out to my friend Mark for hooking me up with an HDMI splitter that I'm currently using to be able to capture footage from the PlayStation TV. Normally you cannot capture footage from the PlayStation TV without this type of a device, so once again, Mark, big shout out to you, man. Thank you very much. I highly appreciate it. So, right now, let's talk Phantasy Star, folks. SEGA's been trying to reinvent themselves as of late. If you look at some of the games that have been coming out, they started out with Sonic Mania. But they do a lot of stuff with Sonic, let's be honest over here. Now we've got news of Streets of Rage 4 coming out. I'm very excited about that and looking forward to that game as well. And we also had Valkyria Chronicles 4 come out recently during the holidays as well. And then we had Shining Resonance Refrain, which was a PlayStation 3 title that got the HD treatment, and that was just brought out recently to consoles over the holidays. But we have not seen Phantasy Star in the United States in a very, very, very long time. Now, yes, I've played the original Phantasy Star and all three of the other ones on the Genesis. Phantasy Stars 1 through 4 I'm talking about, obviously. For me, though, even though I've rented those games many times and I've played them, I really fell in love with the Phantasy Star series on the SEGA Dreamcast. As a matter of fact, I still have my first copy of Phantasy Star Online right over here, and this game was a system seller for me, folks. It took Phantasy Star Online, basically, from a turn-based style RPG into an action style RPG. But what I really loved about the system, though, was Phantasy Star is not just a hack and slash type title. You had to be really careful in terms of the way you were attacking. There was timing that had to take place, and if you missed timing even by a little bit, you were going to get hit by an enemy. But I enjoyed the challenge of that game. It made it fun. Then, moving forward, once SEGA went out of the console business, we got Phantasy Star 1 and 2 on the GameCube, and this had an awesome split-screen mode on it. That game was also a lot of fun to play. But, you know, it wasn't a brand new Phantasy Star. Then it came out with Phantasy Star 3 Card Revolution, but it really changed the mechanics. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't my favorite game. Then, on the PlayStation, and also on the Xbox 360 back then, there was Phantasy Star Universe, and one copy that I have over here is Phantasy Star Universe Ambition of the Illuminus, which was the game that took place directly after the Phantasy Star Universe. Besides Phantasy Star Universe, the last Phantasy Star games we had in the US were on the PSP, which, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I remember playing the demos, but it's been a little while. They were basically the Phantasy Star Universe, the portableized for the PSP. That's what it was back then. And then from there, all you really hear about these days is when are we getting Phantasy Star Online 2? And of course I'm looking forward to that as well. I know it's a free-to-play game. Currently it's in Japan only. They have not brought it over to the US, and I know a lot of you guys have been begging SEGA, all you SEGA fans out there have been begging SEGA to get Phantasy Star Online 2 over to the US. But unfortunately they have not done anything about that for whatever reason. But there is one other game that most people do not know about. There is a single-player Phantasy Star type experience that's out there right now. It's been out there since 2014, folks. We still have not seen it in the United States yet. What's even more interesting, it's not just SEGA that worked on this title. It was also Tri-Ace, the same guys who worked on the Star Ocean series. Now think about this. Two awesome action RPGs. Star Ocean and Phantasy Star. Just imagine those mechanics coming together from two developers that are used to working on fantasy-style sci-fi JRPGs. And what do you get? You get a game called Phantasy Star Nova. Alright, so we're getting Phantasy Star Nova started up. As you can already see, they got some wacky enemies in here. What the heck were we just looking at? Was that some kind of a dinosaur with, like, cannons and a tank engine on it or something? What was that thing? That was crazy. So, as you can see, we've got a bunch of hiragana, katakana, or kanji. Sorry, I do not know the difference. I love playing imports, but like I said in a previous video, I do not read or speak Japanese. But I truly love playing imports, though, because they're fun. It's nice to see what we don't get on this side. As you can see, there's a Tri-Ace logo, folks. Tri-Ace did, in fact, work on this game, and I have no idea why it didn't get that much exposure. This is a game that really, really should come over to the U.S. It should come over to the West, and many people should try this out. So, here we are at our intro video. As you can see, like in most Phantasy Star games, they start out with this crew flying around their ship, and for whatever reason, you know, they have problems with the ship and it breaks down. Sound familiar? Well, the story in that sense is quite similar to the original Phantasy Star Online that was on the Dreamcast once again. As you can see, ship's about to crash, and you know, they don't really give you much of the story in terms of what we're looking at, and I'm not going to be able to tell you about much of this story because, like I said, I do not read Japanese. But as you can see, we have our characters over here. They're in action right now. They're trying to get a base established to get ready to go on their little adventures, getting ready to fight this weird dinosaur tank thing that's following them around for whatever reason. And as you can see, they've also retained some of the wacky, unique weapon styles that Phantasy Star is known for. You've got this weird-looking arrow or spear-type gun that you've seen the girl wielding over there. I can tell you when you're fighting, that gun's really weird in itself because it's got like some jet engine on the back of it, and it actually sends your character rushing forward as the burst from the engine rushes through to attack enemies. Then you got the typical big laser-type swords, and basically the lightsaber-type blades, and even some really cool-looking beam katanas and whatnot. There's a whole lot of variety in Phantasy Star. But yep, this is the intro to the game, and there we go. There's our logo. Let's get started. Here we are at the intro screen. Looking very Phantasy Star-esque, of course. Stars in the background. You know, silhouette of a planet over there. Let's start up. I'm going to continue with my original character right here. For those of you who are curious, by the way, using the PlayStation Television, I'm actually able to use my PlayStation 4 controller to play this game as well, which is really awesome and very comfortable for that matter. We got our game loading right here. Love the load screen. And here we are in our little makeshift camp. There's a bunch of characters down there, and while you're out on missions, the characters want you to go and grab items for them and whatnot. So let's just walk around, see what this short environment is like. Don't get me wrong, this is an older game. Definitely do not expect PlayStation 4 style graphics, because after all, even though I'm playing on a big screen right now, this is a PlayStation Vita game that we're looking at. However, for a Vita game, it's quite beautiful looking. And look at this right over here. Is that not fantastic? Chef Gundam. What I'm looking at Chef Gundam right now. So yeah, for you guys who play Monster Hunter, we've got those awesome chef cats over in Monster Hunter. But hey, in Phantasy Star, we have Chef Gundam, folks. We need to bring Chef Gundam to the United States. Why? Because Chef Gundam. That's why. So over here, we just have different areas. Over here, we can purchase weapons and upgrades and whatnot. This is the weapon shop. You know, few other various things. But we're not really here to look at characters that much. Just going to move around the environment a little more, and then we'll head into some gameplay. Right over here is kind of the hub world, which is the ship itself. If you walk in there, you'll get to speak to the captain and all these other characters that are in there. But since we can't really understand what we're seeing, I'm not really going to go in there right now, because I want to get to this. Now, I have played some of these missions previously, to be honest with you. But right now, let's just take a look and see what we have to play. So, I think I'll pick this level right here. Then again, that's for level 10. That's a little low. I want to go a little bit higher than that because my character's at level 45. Let's see. Okay, let's hit up this level 20. Alright. Now, first, before I get started, they're going to ask me to select different characters to fight alongside of me. I'm definitely selecting Chef Gundam. Chef Gundam's got my back, folks, so yes, let's get Chef Gundam on our team. We definitely have to have that. I've already got a sword, so that's fine. Let's get a magic user in here as well. Alright. You know what? I think I'm good. Let's keep that team for now. Let's get started. It's going to give me a message asking me if I want to get started up. And the mission structure in this game, some of the missions can be long, but a lot of them are a bit shorter. It's perfect for a portable style game. You can go through these missions maybe about 5, 10, 15 minutes or so, but it's a lot of fun to play through. If I hit the D-pad up and down, you'll notice I can select from different weapons, and you can have up to, I believe it's 6 slots, maybe? Yeah, you can have up to 6 slots. So right now I have my sword. Then I could go to Partisan, or I could go to that really weird-looking rocket-type weapon. I'm going to go back to the sword because that's one of my favorites. Let's go fight some enemies while we're at it. Now, for those of you who have played the Star Ocean series, one thing they are very well known for are aerial attacks in those games. So, if I hold down the R1 button and I hit square, as you can see I can do an aerial attack. One thing that's different about this version of Phantasy Star versus previous entries in the series is the simple fact that in the older Phantasy Star games, Phantasy Star Online games, you couldn't jump. But in this game, you can jump. As you can see, the need to have items like Meseta fall down. Rare items are red like usual. They also have blue for different types of items and weapons that you would find in the game, such as monomate, dimate, trimate, all the typical healing type items. And as you can see too, on the upper right hand corner, we have the map. And the map sometimes shows items that you may be able to get on level, such as that Meseta right now. Let's take this guy down before he tries to kill me. That's Chef Gundam. Oh, somebody hit me over there. That is unforgivable. Die! There we go. Looks like there's one more of these guys. Come up and get this going. Yeah! Alright, attack completed, folks. So, they're sending us on the next part of the mission. I'll admit, the levels can be very linear in structure. For me, that's not really much of a problem. I know these days that we're getting more and more used to large open world style experiences with RPGs, but it's nice to play a linear experience every once in a while, just to kick back, relax, and try something out. Because sometimes you don't have the time to sit there playing for hours upon hours upon hours. as you can see, it's already saying that the quest is complete. And I don't know what the objective was, but hey, the quest is complete. Oh, and there's enemies still attacking me. So let's take these guys out. Now, this message right over here is asking me if I want to leave the level or not. So I'm going to cancel out right here. That way, I can still continue moving around through the level to see if there's any items that I missed. This was something that you couldn't previously do in Phantasy Star Online. Don't get me wrong, there was a point where you could go and gather around the items and stuff like that, but they didn't really give you the option to pick if you wanted to hang out in the level a little bit more before leaving the level. So as you can see, the quest is cleared out clearly, but I can still run around through the level and find the items necessary, or anything that I've missed, any type of treasures, rare items, etc., if they happen to be around for that matter. Another thing I really have to commend for this game are some of the crazy bosses in here. In this video, I really didn't want to spoil the game for any of you guys, but I will say the bosses are absolutely nuts. They're things you just wouldn't think of. They got that quirky anime style sense of humor going on for them. But all I gotta say is, if you want to fight some giant sashimi, by all means, go right ahead. More power to you, folks. It's fun. It's super fun. And that's what I think about Phantasy Star Nova. It's a great game. I want everybody to try it out if they can. Right now, it's not in the US, guys, so if you're a fan of SEGA, get on SEGA and say, listen, we want Phantasy Star Nova in the US. Maybe get an HD version for the PlayStation 4 or for the Switch, or for whatever system it may want to come out for. Mainly the PlayStation 4 and Switch. That would be cool. Okay, I'm being a little fanboyish right now, but in all honesty, let's be real here. This game should have an HD remake, and we should have the opportunity to try this out. So, this is Dave with the Bit Journal Broadcast. I want to thank you all for watching. If you liked what you've seen, hit the like and subscribe button. And as always, peace! Have a great one. Take care, and have a nice day.